Hey, so if you're like me, you probably have some data in a Google Sheet somewhere that you'd like to be able to explore a bit better. And maybe you've used tools like ChatGPT to ask some questions about your data. Maybe you've loaded it in there, but it's still a little bit limited because it can't really do much with that data once you have it. So I want to show you how you can go from a Google Sheets and bring it into Fuse to be able to explore your data with the AI integrated and knowing about your data directly. So here I have this data set about used cars. I got this from Kaggle. There's so many data sets. I'm just going to use this because you probably know the basics about how to price cars, and it's a really cool data set. But you can do this with anything. If you have a data set, all you need to do is to be able to go here to share, make sure that anybody can view it. So this is for data that isn't sensitive or anything, because you need to be able to share it right now. But so you copy the link, I get this link here, and now I come to Fused and I go to the AI agent. I want to make sure I'm in the build mode, and I will ask it to open this file. So what the AI is able to do is, because this is a CSV, it can go and open it as a table. I have my table right here. This is basically the same data that we have. Now I'm able to ask a bunch of questions about this data. So I can ask things like, is there any missing data? Are these columns helpful to figure out the price of a car? Like, I can ask it to look at this data for me and give me some questions or answer some questions. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, and so we have some code here, but I don't need to even know how to write this code. It's able to do it. And because it can run the code, I'm able to get some output here. So we can see that, okay, brand, model, model year is a number, fuel type. Fuel type has a lot of missing value. 4% of the value is missing. Accidents, 2%. That's not maybe a lot, but because accidents is something that is probably quite rare, having missing data in this is going to be something we might not want to use. And then clean title, I'm not sure what that is, but there's a lot of missing data. So I can even come back here and I can say, okay, so this is a clean, it looks like it's either yes or no. So it might be missing data, but if it's missing, it might be false. And then fuel type here, we can see if there is some missing data, we don't quite know what it is. Okay, that's good to know. I could have seen this for looking at it, but now I have some actual numbers about how much missing data there is here. So I can ask some follow-up questions to see if this is a helpful data set to find the factors that go into pricing a car. So I can ask it, is this data set helpful enough to get the factors that go into pricing a car? So I have some data, but I don't know necessarily where this data comes from. It can come from a whole bunch of places, and maybe just because the data is there doesn't mean that it's necessarily everything that I need to. So here it's actually giving me some suggestions. There is some missing data. This is what it's telling us. It's giving us some suggestions. So convert the mileage and price into numeric, create an age column, handle the missing data. Okay, so let's do that. So clean this data set. So it created age, it created mileage per year, price, and horsepower. So now we don't have necessarily more data, but we have better ways of understanding this data. So I can ask, is the price of the car... Okay, so now we have some correlation table here. So age is negatively correlated. Mileage, that sounds likely. Horsepower, that probably makes sense because the more horsepower, the higher the price of the car. It's just going to be a more expensive. But then for that, age and mileage is, going to be highly correlated. Whereas if it has an accident, not really. And if it's clean, it has a little bit, but not that much. So we can see that there are some factors here. And I'm able to just continue exploring the data here. I'm going to Command Z so I can come back to the data set that I had with just the table. So I'm basically rerunning this code and I have all the data that I have here. Now I'm going to come here and we have this different mode called ask. So I can ask a bunch of questions. It's not going to write some code for me. And one thing that I think is particularly interesting to ask is, I have this data, but is this enough for me to get a good estimate of price? Or are there things that are not in this data here that would be helpful? Are there any information? Here I can parse through the AI and get a bunch of answers. So like vehicle condition, mileage, ownership history, so the number of owners, the vehicle specifications, so other equipment, things like that, vehicle dimensions and weight. So horsepower might be a good proxy for that, but these are good points. Economic factors, current market price index, vehicle history, safety and technology. Like all of these things are things that I could go out and see if I can find another data set to bring it in and merge it with. So add these columns or request them from the data source, encode the categorical fields and fill missing values, or rerun the correlations. Ask it to help me figure what that might look like. So I could say, I don't care about horsepower, I don't care about brand, help me figure out what a good value might be. And so here we're gonna see price, mileage, price per mile, price per year, and then it's created this value score. So I'm gonna ask it here, I'm gonna come back to the ask and I'm gonna say, how did you calculate? Now, because all of this is running Python, I could actually go in here and read the code, but if I don't want to, I can again ask the AI here. So it's taking the price per mile, the price per year, and it's dividing it by 2. Maybe that's fair. I could iterate and I can ask it to do something else, but here now it's giving me some value. So the Accord Sport, I actually don't know what that is. Let's go look up what an Accord Sport looks like. That sounds like a car that's probably not too expensive and probably a good value. So that's a pretty cool suggestion. I'm not entirely sure about all of that. I might want to do a bit more analysis. I might want to be able to visualize it off. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to make sure I'm in build, and then I'm going to ask it to just chart this data, make a plot, a visualization out of it. So it has all the context. So after a couple trial, I'm able to get a chart here, but I can see that the price goes really, really high. We have this car here that's at like 2.5 million. This is completely over budget for what I can do, and we can't see anything. Like there's cars that have super high mileage. So I'm gonna keep only the cars that I can like reasonably expect to want to buy. So keep only cars with at most 300k and less than 250k mileage. Now we can see that there is quite this correlation between price and mileage, but I have a lot of different options. A Notion page like this, and I'm gonna say, this is my used car exploration. And in here, I might wanna get this chart and be able to like visualize it and come back to it later. So I can bring it in here and I can embed it directly. Now I have this chart directly in here and it's like full interactive. So I could even come back here and I can say, make the points blue. I now have blue points. I can just save it in here. I think I need to delete it. I don't think I can refresh in Notion, but if I could, it would directly be refreshed. And I have my now blue chart. I can come back to my data and I have these different UDFs, these user defined function. This is where my code lives. I can come back to the table that I had with my value score and different prices. I can come back here and I can say, because each chat that we have is related to each UDF that we have, I can come back here and basically pick up from where I was here. And I can say, I have 10 values here. I want to see the top 25. And so here we go, we have the top 25 and I might say, okay, I want to do a little bit of my own exploring with this. So I can come here and I can go to settings and I can get this code as well. I'm going to change the output to be a CSV and then I'm going to change it to Google Sheets. So I can take this here and I can say, I want to be able to share this back with someone in my team. So I'm going to make a new Google Sheets. I'm going to copy this code here, give it allow access. And this is the sheet that I just worked with. So if I want to be able to then send that back to someone in my team or someone in my family because we're looking at buying a car together. Now they have just this analysis that I wanted to do. And I could even take this, I could take this URL, will render a table for you. And I could say, let's go back to Notion. I can just put Notion in light mode and now here we go, it looks really nice. But I can come back and I can keep iterating on this data. I have this AI that's able to help me. I can move data around. If you want to try this out, just go to fuse.io. You can bring in whatever data that you have, get started using the AI, and that's how you can analyze some of your own data from a Google Sheets directly in Fuse and have the AI help you. It has this context of some of the code that it's writing, but more importantly, all of your data. So you can make these quick analysis, go back and forth, share them with anybody around you, either people in your team or people in your family, or even for yourself. I hope you learned something fun. If you want to try it out, just head over to fuse.io. Love to know what you think about this. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.